There we go. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I am Cleo Warner, a Human Services Planner with the Maricopa Association of Governments. And today is our Heat Relief Network launch meeting. I am just going to request that everyone stay on mute unless you want to unmute during our question and discussion period, just to reduce any background noise we might have. We are recording this today for anyone who isn't able to make it. It'll show up on our website for people to watch later in the season if they have any questions about the Heat Relief Network and things we're covering today. But essentially what we will be going through are some welcomes and introductions. We'll have an overview of the Heat Relief Network and the map for anyone who is a little newer to this. We'll go through just some very basic information and a good refresher for everyone to kick off the season. I will walk us through our new onboarding process that will look a little bit different this year than it has in previous years. And then we are also joined today by the Maricopa County Department of Public Health, and they will be walking us through some data from last year, as well as their role this season and the number of efforts underway to make this season very successful. And then we'll have some time for open discussion and questions from you all. So again, to start this off, I'm Cleo Warner, a Human Services Planner with the Maricopa Association of Governments. MAG hosts the Interactive Heat Relief Network map and is a main supportive and coordinating partner for the network each year. And I will pass it over to Dr. Bell.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Bell, and I am the Climate and Health Manager at the Maricopa County Department of Public Health. And the Heat Relief Network coordination that I'm going to talk a little bit about later today, it falls under my office of Climate and Health here at the Public Health Department. And I'll turn it over to our Heat Relief Program Coordinator, Francisco.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Francisco. I'm the Heat Relief Program Coordinator for Maricopa County. And I've met a lot of you already in the past couple of months, and I'm looking forward to meeting everyone that's participating in how to improve our Heat Relief Network and to get heat relief efforts to all of our vulnerable populations.
Great, thank you both. Okay. I'm going to do the thing where I now share a presentation that is running in presenter mode. And I think I did it right the first time. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so it's our season launch meeting. Hope everyone is prepared and ready for the season. I'm gonna walk us through this first half of the presentation, and we will take questions on sort of the logistics of the map and the onboarding process after I'm through with that. So if you have any burning questions, please put them in the chat and we'll get to them about once I'm done with a couple slides. All right. So just a little bit of background on the map for all of us. This is an effort that began all the way back in 2005, actually. This is when the first whispers of a regional heat relief network was formed, and it was in response to a record number of heat-related deaths in the region. This network started as a completely crisis-oriented effort with agencies just volunteering to open their doors to people needing to escape from the heat. MAG's role at that point, and what our role continues to be, is offering this map and mapping out where these heat relief sites exist and help raise awareness for the resources that are available. And then with the Maricopa County Health Department, they jumped in pretty quickly after around 2006 and began some heat death surveillance or monitoring. And this data collection is really pivotal to how the network is run and has become a national model for public health heat surveillance, which is really great that we have these resources available for us in our community. Over the years, things have changed a bit, as I'm sure we all know. Partners have really increased their efforts in this space. We have huge involvement from our nonprofit community, clinics, our faith communities, our cities, and all of that has really just grown exponentially over the years. And coordination and understanding of this problem continue to increase with that involvement, but our goal continues to be reducing the number of heat-related injuries and deaths. So this is our map. This is I would say, a more viewer-friendly version of our map when you look at it once it's on May 1st this year. The icons are a little bigger, but this is a version for us all to present to you just to, in case this is the first time you are familiarizing yourself with the Heat Relief Network. We offer a map that looks like this each year, and it displays our 4 designated heat relief sites, which are collection and donation locations, hydration stations, cooling centers, and respite centers. And we can get into the definitions of each of those if people are curious or have questions about them. Our onboarding and application process for those started this month. And that means anyone can now go to the MAG website to sign up to be a Heat Relief Network site. And I'll get to the details of that shortly. But the new map will be available May 1st and display the sites that have signed up so far. And just keep in mind that we update this map throughout the summer as new sites on board. You can, technically start anytime from May 1st through September 30th. That is our official heat season. And sites sign up throughout the summer. So we have a new onboarding process this year, and this was a endeavor that was very community driven, and this is the results of that. So if you are looking to become a heat relief site, you first go to azmag.gov/heat relief, where you will complete the new Heat Relief Network Standards and Expectations form. This is a link directly on the website that you will click on, and it will bring you to a document survey site that looks like this. This is just sort of the top half of it. This form was created as a product of the Heat Relief Network onboarding work group that we started all the way back in January, that I believe went through about February or March of this year. So lots of prep goes on way before the heat season starts. This group is organized alongside with the county as a response to a desire to establish a community agreed upon set of expectations for each site type. So these expectations look like things like providing access to bathrooms, ensuring that if you say you're going to be offering water, that water is available, ensuring that you have functioning AC, types of things like that I think over the last few years have always been assumed for all the sites, but we haven't really had them written down. So this year we have done that alongside a lot of our community members. So everyone who wants to be on the map will need to agree to this set of standards for the sites that they are hoping to open. And once they go through this form, agree to those standards, then you will receive a link to the site application form in your email. And this would be an email that you provided on that expectations and standards form. The application form looks very similar to what you all are used to if you have completed information for a site in previous years. So this is the form that requests the very basic information of what we need to know to make sure every site is displayed properly on the map. Which is a lot more information than you would initially think. So we know the form is quite long. We review it and go over it every year to make sure we're editing it down as much as possible. But most years we end up adding questions because there's so much information we want and need to know from these sites. So basically, a lot of the information that we're gathering is useful for display on the map, as well as some back-end stuff for any emergency or future planning. And that looks like information on generators, if you have them, how long they could run, or some public health information, things like that. Some added questions this year include gathering information on wheelchair and disability access, as well as information on any other resources that might be offered at that site. So we're really trying to collect as much information as possible from those who are running sites to see if in future years there's ways that the map can even better display the types of resources that are out there and being offered. So once that site application form is completed, you'll receive a notification from hsinfo@azmag.gov. That information or that email is coming from my team. You'll receive an email from that email address when your site is on the map. This might be pretty immediate. We try to handle it within 24 hours, or we might reach out to you before you're on the map in case there's any discrepancies in information, or we have any questions for you about that site. But you can expect to hear from us when your site is on the map. So we want to make sure to remind everyone to stay connected with us throughout the season. This is very important, especially when it comes to letting us know if any days or times or services change for your sites. This map is really only as accurate as the information we have, and that information comes from you all and the people running these sites. So really important to have that hsinfo@azmag.gov email for purposes of making sure that you can reach out if it's like, hey, we said we were going to be open on Sundays, but we really can't support that now, letting you know so that we can change it on the map and people don't come to your site expecting it to be open on that Sunday. Okay, this is the point in which I can take any questions about the map or the onboarding process. If there are any, and Francisco, if there are any that came up on the chat, could you let me know?
I don't see any questions yet, Cleo.
Great. All right. Well then, if you think of any, my email will be at the end and you can reach out to me there as well, or you can type them in the chat and we can address them at the end. But I'm gonna now pass it over to the county's team to walk us through some data they have from last season that I think really helps situate the importance of our collective work in heat relief as a community and some things that they will be accomplishing this year.
All right. Thank you so much, Cleo. And good morning, everyone. As I mentioned, my name is Jessica Bell, and I'm the Climate and Health Manager here at Public Health. And I just wanted to reiterate and say thank you for everyone for taking time out and attending today and for doing all of the work that you do each and every day. And welcome to those of you who are new to the Heat Relief Network this season and those of you that are returning this year. We're very excited to be working with you all. So as Cleo mentioned, I just want to go over a small portion of our data and talk about the heat relief initiatives that the Maricopa County Department of Health is instituting this year. As Cleo mentioned, the Heat Relief Network began and continues to operate as a voluntary network of community partners who are opening their doors for heat relief. And as our climate and health program began last year, we heard from the Heat Relief Network participants that more centralized communication and coordination was needed. And so in response, the Maricopa County Department of Public Health hired a heat relief program coordinator, Francisco, under the climate and health program. And so we've been working on our internal heat and health strategic plan and working on incorporating heat relief coordination into that plan. We will also be using surveillance, as Cleo mentioned, that has been ongoing. And our cooling center evaluation that we performed last year, we'll be using those data to improve and coordinate our countywide heat relief efforts moving forward. Next slide, please. So as Cleo mentioned, our collective heat relief efforts are critical, as we can see by our heat-related death data. In 2023, we had 645 heat-related deaths that occurred in Maricopa County, and this is a 52% jump from an already record-breaking 425 deaths in 2022. And this is almost an 800% increase over the past decade. Next slide, please. As we know, heat can affect anyone, but some of our populations are disproportionately at risk. About half of all heat-related deaths are among those who are experiencing homelessness. And in fact, people experiencing homelessness are 500 times more likely to die from a heat-related cause than those who are housed. Next slide, please. We can also see intuitively that heat-related deaths increase as our temperatures rise. And July 2023 was especially hot, with the National Weather Service issuing an excessive heat warning every single day from July 1st through July 29th. And as a result of this particularly hot season, there were 404 heat-related deaths in the month of July, accounting for more than 60% of all the heat-related deaths in 2023. Next slide, please. We also see that the majority of people who die from the heat are over the age of 50, and that majority is about 60%. And this includes those who are experiencing homelessness, as well as those who are housed, particularly in manufactured housing. Next slide, please. When we look at our indoor deaths, we see that they are rising, and we see that 3 in 4 are over the age of 65. And 1 in 4 of those indoor deaths occur in people who live in RVs, trailers, or mobile homes. Next slide, please. We can also see in our indoor deaths that air conditioning is present in 88% of the deaths, but in almost all cases, it was either not working or not turned on. Next slide, please. So as the numbers of people who are dying from the heat continue to increase, we have the opportunity to shift away from that volunteer decentralized emergency response to a strategic infrastructure driven by data. And so we need resources to build this new infrastructure. And that includes better data regarding what strategies are working in our communities, centralized and coordinated decision-making, ancillary services such as transportation and call center support, and formal agreements and funding to staff sites that have been strategically located based on risk and need. And we have been working with ASU to help us identify those areas where additional locations may be needed. And this is just one example of how we've been looking at the data. This map, and hopefully you can see some of the dots there. The red dots depict the 2022 and 2023 outdoor homeless heat deaths, and the purple dots are the 2022 homeless outreach areas. The circular areas that are in green depict a mile radius around those heat relief centers that were registered in 2023. And so using this data, we can identify those spaces where there may be a gap where we might need to have more services inserted. And so there are immediate needs to prepare for this summer's heat and those longer term needs to build out that sustainable infrastructure. Next slide, please. So in regards to our heat relief initiatives, in addition to hiring our heat relief program coordinator, Public Health is implementing several initiatives, including the utilization of an existing Promotora program. And these are bilingual community health workers that answer calls via the Solari 211 call center. This year, we will be dedicating staff May through September to answer heat relief calls. And these promotoras will help people find the nearest cooling or respite center to them that meets their needs. They'll also help connect people to heat relief resources like air conditioning, repair and replacement, and can dispatch transportation to and from our cooling centers and respite centers. Next slide, please. We've also been working on funding our municipalities and community-based organizations to help expand evening and weekend hours of heat relief until 7 p.m. throughout the county. We're also working on providing heat relief supplies to our cooling centers, as well as working on enhanced evaluation of our overnight, evening, and weekend hours to better understand what our heat relief needs are in our community. And finally, we're working with Valley Metro and other organizations to engage people who are using public transportation. Next slide, please. I did want to share a funding opportunity for heat relief that was just released. We are offering funding of up to $150,000 to agencies, municipalities, and organizations in Maricopa County to aid in heat relief efforts by either extending hours of operations at existing cooling centers or respite centers, or by opening a new heat relief center or centers in areas of need. And the deadline for this opportunity is May 16th at 2 p.m. And you can read the full request for proposal by scanning the QR code or following the bit.ly link that's provided there. If you have any questions regarding the request for proposal funding opportunity, please contact Cheryl Bucalo, whose information is on this slide. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, moving forward, we're continuing to work to find ways to make heat relief more centralized and coordinated and driven by data. We're also partnering with MAG to help develop a funding matrix where community-based organizations can communicate their heat relief needs, and hopefully we can cross-post funding opportunities to help address some of those needs. And that process is still we're still working on finalizing what that process will look like, and we'll have that in the near future, and we'll be sure to communicate that with all of you on how you can access that funding matrix. And then finally, we're asking our community partners to report any heat relief needs and issues to our heat relief program coordinator, Francisco, whose information will be on the last slide. We want to understand more about what those gaps are and how we can help fill them both this season and how we can plan to help address those needs in the next upcoming heat season. And that is it for me. Thank you so much again for your attention and your attendance today, and we'd be happy to answer any additional questions you might have.
Thank you, Jessica, for sharing all of that really, really important information for us. So basically, we scheduled this meeting for an hour in case we have community questions and have this be an open space for discussion. By no means need to take all that time, but I see Irene has her hand up. So Irene, let us know what's up.
Hi, I noticed on registration site, it does not allow, it allows for the start time and end time, but it doesn't allow for in-between days that are closed due to other obligations the facilities may have. And I was wondering, do I just submit that in an email to you guys or just through that link that you left on
Are
the
you
site?
talking about the application form where you fill in all of your hours?
Filling in the hours, yes. And you know, it does allow for adding the different hours, but some days, specifically like Vacation Bible School, maybe the site may be closed for that. And then there are some activities that are going on particular days where it may be closed, not a regular thing, but it might be one of the weeks of operation that day may be closed.
Yeah, great question. So in those like off sections where it doesn't follow like your general cadence or pattern of being open and closed, send an email to hsinfo@azmag.gov describing what those are. We'll have that information on, it's nothing that we could really put, I think, on the form without getting it too complicated, but let us know if you know, like Vacation Bible School will be, you know, July 13th through the 30th or something like that. And then we can have it on the back end and make sure that we trigger that site being closed during that specific time set.
Okay, what I'll do to make it easy for all the sites that I'm entering, I'll just make a sheet and have the name of the facilities and submit it in one sheet rather than in pieces.
That would be great, Irene. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Irene, since you're still registering many of your sites, take a second look when doing so where it asks you if you would be open for certain holidays. I do believe that there is a write-in option as in other days or other holidays that you might not be open for relief efforts. I'm not sure if it gives you more to add more than one option other than I do believe it has an option to add for other.
Okay, because I know it just has specific holidays. Are you going to be open on those days? And so we are open on the holidays. So I'm not sure what it's going to give us the option because our workers do work on the holidays.
Thanks, Irene. Yeah, if there's something that seems like it doesn't fit in the form or it doesn't seem like there's a place that makes sense to put it, you can provide us that information.
Okay.
Hi,
All right.
Cleo. This is Tish from Human Services Campus, now
Hi,
Key
Tish.
Campus. Hi, I just have a question. I believe by history, we're always placed as a heat relief site. Is that true?
That will just be if there is someone from the Key campus who puts in an application form, and submits your
Okay.
information. We don't automatically put anyone up as a site.
Okay, that's great to know. Because, as always, we do provide heat relief to our folks that are part of the campus. But again, to the general public, that is a stretch for us. So I guess, is it Francisco? We'll have an offline conversation about what we can provide as service.
Yes, definitely direct those to Francisco.
Okay, because I saw all those red dots and that's in our area. Absolutely, around campus, that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So we want to do what we can. We just want to ensure that we're doing what we need to do and serving the unhoused folks that are our campus participants.
Great. Thank you, Tish. Very important work. I'm going to jump over to Heidi, who has their hand up.
Good morning, everyone. I just have a quick question. Last year, we got a flyer indicating that we were a heat relief network site. That is something that I placed in the front window at US Vets so that the pedestrians walking by knew that they could walk in. I know we've got that handy dandy QR code. Not everyone that is transient in our area has a working cell phone. So I was hoping that I could get one of those flyers, please. Thanks so much.
I'm going to pass that to Francisco to talk about signage.
Yes, thank you. I will give you a flyer, 2 flyers, 3 flyers, and a sign, a frame, yard sign, a bunch of stuff. We've got a lot of signage that we will be distributing to all of you participating sites, and the instructions to contact me will be coming with that email confirming that you've been added to the map, which I believe will start going out tomorrow. Nevertheless, Heidi, I do believe I met with you within the past couple of weeks, so you are one of the many folks that are on my list to make sure to get some signs.
Thank you, Francisco.
No problem.
Isn't Francisco the best? Okay, Irene, I see your hand up, but I'm going to go to the chat real quick. We have from Robert, if we have any data on burns, or have any planned interventions for those. Jessica, on the public health side, I don't know if you have any additional information on that. I do not on the MAG.
Yes, I am not aware of any burn data, but I can definitely take that back to our EPI team. I'm not sure if any of them are on the call today, but we can get back to you on that in terms of whether or not we have data regarding burns.
Great. And then a question from Krista: how many days a week does a cooling center need to be open in order to qualify for funding? I am not familiar. There are, I think, multiple ways in which sites may get funding. I'm assuming you're talking about the specific one that the county has available. And I think Jessica would tell you that you need to go to the QR code in order to get more details on that funding opportunity.
Yes, because it is an open RFP, I can't answer those questions for you. It would have to be Cheryl, who was on that slide.
And we will provide the slides to everyone who was registered and participating in the meeting today. So you'll have that information shortly. Heidi, I see you've got your hand up again.
That's an error. I didn't pull it down. I am so sorry.
You're all good. Matt Kelly.
Hi there. Quick question. I'm wondering, with the map that you had shown, there appeared to be a number of areas where there weren't heat relief centers. Do you have a listing of like what is needed where, or kind of like the asks? So like if I'm sending this out to a larger network, like, hey, there are shortages in these 5 or 6 areas, is that something that you have available, or is it just the map?
So
Does that-
yeah, right now we just have the map available, and we're not necessarily sharing that data out at this point in time. We are looking at different ways of identifying where those gaps might be, working on different optimization opportunities to see where that is. Some of the predictive models can give us like spaces that might be potential for them to be at, but we don't have those, we don't have lists as of now. But we can definitely, if you have a question about a site or like an area, we might be able to connect with you and talk to you about how to best address those needs in that area.
Well, so I'm going to be sending this out to pretty much all of our clinic system. And so basically we're all throughout the valley. And so like if I knew that, say, for example, we had a clinic in the West Valley that was in one of those bubbles, we might be able to give them a little bit of a heads up to that and see if they were more, and I guess maybe a little bit more targeted per se, or at least help with that. That's kind of what I was thinking. So.
Sure, connect with us and we'll help make that connection there.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And just to add a comment, this is Tish again. Jessica, I know you presented to the ADOH homeless to housing roundtable, and I'm hoping that you'll do that again for us, because we have a lot of providers around the table that are outside the industry that may be willing to provide some resources.
Yeah, great. Yes. Thank you for the reminder for that.
Okay, I have a question in the chat. Is it possible to share the heat map with us? Reverend Katie, are you referring to the one that has the specific circles that Jessica shared, that compares outreach with heat deaths?
Yeah, and I think Francisco just
Francisco just
dropped
shared
it in
it.
there.
Perfect. Amazing. All right, question about signage for a historical building. So I know signage will have to comply with whatever, zoning restrictions exist for the space. But if, Teresa, if you have any specific questions about that, we'll try to answer.
Hi, I just, I have a question because our building is an historical building, the site that it's at. And I apologize for the baby. I'm trying to keep him.
No
happy.
worries.
We can put signage on 2 of the streets surrounding us, but the 3rd street, we have to meet, the City of Mesa compliance codes. And I just didn't know if you guys had signage that would meet that, as well as signage that had your logo on it.
So I'm not sure what the City of Mesa compliance codes are for signage on historical buildings, but I am positive that Francisco will be able to work with you to figure out if there is anything possible for that. Jessica, if you have more to add.
Yeah, one of the things that I was going to say is if we can't do signage, we also have window clings, if that's something that could be visible in terms of like being on the side of a building or near the building. But definitely reach out to Francisco and we'll see. We've heard this, with ordinances, there might be challenges. So we might be able to better understand what you need and how we can help get that signage for you.
Right, yeah, because our actual facility sits back within the church campus. So we need something to direct people in from the street. So, okay, thank you.
All right, Matt, do you happen to have your hand up again, or was it just not removed from last time?
Sorry.
That's okay.
My
Just want to make
bad.
sure we're not missing any questions. I think I got all of the questions in the chat. If not, one more. Do you know when signs will be available? I'm going to put that on Jessica and Francisco again.
Francisco, do you have an update on the dates?
Signage will, I will start as soon as I start hearing from folks in regards to signage requests. I will be scheduling signage pickup for the week of May 6th. We're still getting a bunch of it in from the print shop, and you know, as soon as you contact me, you'll be scheduled for a pickup time.
Great. Anything else from the group?
Reverend Katie, we have A-frames and yard signs and the clings.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, things we want to share? Did I miss something in the chat?
Can I ask one more question, please, before we all head out?
Of course.
I was just thinking, in our area, we get a lot of individuals with dogs. Does anybody know of any organization or company that donates dog bowls, preferably collapsible dog bowls, so that we could also be offering water to animals? Or is that against the rules?
So there, our District 2 Supervisor Galvin actually donated money to purchase dog bowls and dog booties. And so we are working on getting those out to those sites that accept pets into their sites, and they are collapsible bowls and dog booties. So we will work with those organizations that do accept pets to get you a supply of them. And then I also see that Kim put in the chat AZ Pet Project.
Couple more resources in the chat, Heidi, if you can see those. Yes, we know that pets become extremely important to care for as well during our heat season. Any other questions for the group? Okay. Well, as I mentioned, I'll send out the slides to everyone who's registered for this meeting by the end of the day. So you'll have our emails and that type of information. They're available on those data slides from the county. Please reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns throughout the season. I think we're all, very welcoming of those questions and concerns, and try to help you figure it out in whatever way we can. We know that, there are still lots of gaps that exist in this network, but every year the community really comes together to figure out how we save lives each summer. So really appreciate you all putting in this time and this work every year. And if you are new to this, thank you for joining. We always need more resources and more people helping out. So Jessica and Francisco, any other closing comments from you all?
No, just thank you. And please do reach out to Francisco. We will try and, as Cleo said, we'll try and make those connections. If if we can't do it ourselves, we'll try and make those connections for all of you. And we want to hear about those gaps so we can help plan for next year and make sure that we address them.
I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.